The first 7 seconds are silent. Not literally, the room has sound. Footsteps, elevator chimes, low conversation, phones buzzing. But something else happens in those first seconds. Assessment. Before Michael speaks, before he shakes a hand, before he introduces himself, a decision is forming, not about his resume, about him, his posture, his pace, his face, his stillness, his tension, or lack of it. 7 seconds, that's all it takes. And most men never realize. The verdict has already been drafted. First impressions are not polite observations, they are rapid conclusions. And once formed, they are stubborn. People don't wait for your explanation. They decide whether you are competent, dominant, trustworthy, uncertain, nervous, solid, or unstable. Before your second sentence finishes, you think you're being evaluated for your ideas. You're being evaluated for your presence. Michael sits down. He adjusts nothing. He doesn't fidget with his jacket. He doesn't scan the room anxiously. He doesn't overcompensate with exaggerated confidence. He just settles. And in that simple act, another layer of judgment is made. Men think first impressions are about clothing. Clothing helps, but it's deeper than fabric. It's micro-behavior. The way your shoulders sit, the way your eyes move, the way you wait. Stillness communicates something powerful. Urgency communicates something else. In the same room, another man sits down. He straightens his tie twice, checks his watch, clears his throat, taps a pen. Nothing dramatic, nothing outrageous. But the nervous system is visible, and visibility changes perception. Humans are pattern detectors. We don't analyze consciously, we scan, we sense, we categorize. Confidence is rarely announced, it is inferred. The meeting begins. One man speaks loudly. He pushes his point, he interrupts lightly. He nods too quickly at his own words. Michael waits. When he speaks, it's measured, short, controlled. Here's what's interesting. The louder man believes he's establishing dominance, but something else is happening. The room is recalibrating. The man who seems to need approval loses leverage. The man who appears steady gains it. First impressions shape how your behavior is interpreted. If the room has already decided you are stable, your silence becomes strength. If the room has decided you are uncertain, your silence becomes insecurity. The same behavior, different verdict, because the first impression already framed it. This doesn't just happen at work, it happens everywhere. Social dinners, networking events, even first dates. When Michael enters the room, conversations don't stop, but glances happen. And in those glances, decisions crystallize. Does he look grounded? Does he seem reactive? Does he scan the room for validation? Or does he move as if he belongs? Belonging cannot be forced, it is sensed. Most men think first impressions are unfair. They are, but they are also efficient. The brain is not interested in your potential, it's interested in prediction. Can this person handle pressure? Can this person be trusted? Will this person escalate or stabilize a situation? It decides quickly. Because quick decisions kept humans alive. Pressure reveals posture, not just physical posture, psychological posture. Michael learned this outside the boardroom, in the gym, underweight. When muscles strain, the face tightens, breath shortens, eyes shift. The same thing happens under social pressure, and people see it, not consciously, but instinctively. If your breath becomes shallow during tension, your authority drops. If your voice climbs in pitch, credibility shifts. If your shoulders collapse slightly, dominance recalibrates. It's subtle, but perception lives in the subtle. There's a moment in every interaction where someone tests you, a slight disagreement, a raised eyebrow, a dismissive comment. The first time it happens, the room watches, not the content, the reaction. Michael once reacted quickly, defensive tone, faster speech, justification layered with urgency. He thought he was protecting his point, but he was doing something else. He was confirming doubt. After that meeting, he noticed something. Even when he was correct, his influence had dropped. Because the first impression had shifted. He had revealed instability. Now he does something different. He pauses. Not dramatically, just enough. He lets the comment sit in the air, then responds. Even tone, even breath, even pace. And the room adjusts because emotional steadiness is read as power. Not because it's aggressive, because it signals control. Conflict amplifies first impressions. If someone already sees you as stable, they expect composure. If someone sees you as reactive, they look for confirmation. Perception becomes a filter. Michael realized something critical. You don't just manage behavior, you manage interpretation. If your first impression establishes calm, grounded, measured, unhurried, then even disagreement can elevate you. If your first impression establishes urgent, tense, approval-seeking, defensive, then even neutral moments reduce you. First impressions decide the frame, and once the frame exists, everything inside it is judged through it. Here is the uncomfortable truth. You rarely get a second chance. To shape how people categorize you, you can change it, but it costs effort, it requires consistency, and it requires patience. Most men attempt to reverse perception with words. Words are weak against pattern. What shifts perception is repetition, consistent posture, consistent tone, consistent restraint, consistent presence. But prevention is easier than repair, which means the first room, the first interaction, the first handshake, the first minute matters more than you think. At this point, if this resonates, if you've ever felt misunderstood or underestimated, take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, or share this with someone who needs to understand how perception really works. It helps us reach men who don't realize that they're being evaluated before they open their mouth. All right, back to the story. Michael didn't change overnight. He studied himself. The way he entered rooms, the way he waited, the way he reacted. He removed urgency. He slowed his responses. He reduced unnecessary gestures. He stopped over-explaining. And something shifted. Not dramatically, but consistently. People began deferring slightly, listening longer, interrupting less. Because the first signal they received was steadiness, and steadiness feels safe. Safety creates trust. Trust creates influence. Most men focus on skill, few focus on signal, but signal opens the door. For skill to be seen, if your presence suggests instability, your competence is questioned. If your presence suggests solidity, your competence is assumed. First impressions are not about impressing. They are about communicating. Predictability under pressure. You don't need to be intimidating. You don't need to dominate. You don't need to perform confidence theatrically. You need to be unhurried, grounded, controlled, deliberate. Because in the first seconds, if people are not asking, is he talented? They are asking, is he safe? Is he stable? Is he solid? And they decide quickly. Most men try to prove themselves after the fact. The smarter move is to establish the frame first. When the frame is strong, you don't need to push. When the frame is weak, you're always compensating. First impressions decide everything because they decide the lens. And once the lens exists, every action is interpreted through it. If you want to be treated differently, you must enter differently. Slower, straighter, quieter, more controlled. Not for performance, for alignment. Because perception compounds. The way you're seen today affects how you're treated tomorrow. And how you're treated tomorrow shapes your opportunities next month. It all begins in the first few seconds. Most men ignore them. The ones who understand them rarely need to demand respect. They receive it. Let the ideas compound.